you cannot carry or fight against the immigration. Nicolas Landis is the head of Red Cross's social support program for the families who disappeared migrants. He's taken to register from St. Louis, Senegal. Yesterday, Monday, marked 2 months since the alleged abduction of Zimbabwe human rights activist Itaya Zamara. To mark the occasion, the European Union warned Monday that Zamara's continued disappearance could affect Zimbabwe-European Union relations. In a statement, the EU said President Robert Mugabe's government must take every step necessary to ascertain Zamara's whereabouts and safeguard his well-being. Political analyst Nkululeko Sibanda says he hopes the EU will be able to carry out its threat.
Well, I think that this is a very admirable stance by the European Union. However, the only problem is that it is a stance that is almost impossible for either the European Union to follow towards or to defend on the international stage with any other competitors or industrial relations with China and Russia. And we know very well that the EU is eager to get into Zimbabwe following the growth and other African countries following the growth of Chinese influence there. And I think that for that reason alone, the European Union is certainly taking a difficult stance and may not be able to carry it through.
Do you think the European Union is now regretting rolling back its sanctions on them here?
In this scheme of things, because international relations is not necessarily about aid and about human rights. International relations is about the interests of the relating countries. I therefore think that the issue, the issue, and the issue of the position that the EU has taken will always be subject to economic and political interest, which I think will always take precedence. Therefore, I do not think that the EU is regretting this position. I think that from time to time make condemnations, just as President Obama recently said that, you know what, Colonel Gaddafi was a dictator who could constantly rush back and march for human rights abuses, but he was not necessarily terrorist. And I think that occasionally you find that the world does a good job of condemning human rights abuses without necessarily taking any substantive action. And I think that this is going to be the case in the long term.
Analyst Nkululeko was speaking from London with reporter Gamile Nkomo of VOA Zimbabwe service. If you are in Uganda, what's the least attractive quality for a potential trade deal? As a tourist in Myanmar, what's the worst way to meet a girl on the street? To answer these questions and others you may never have thought to ask, viewers have another talk to an international dating cultural reporter.
Matthew Stein, a Canadian journalist in Uganda, publishes datingcultures.com. Here are some of the titles of his past video reports.
There was street flirting in Yangon, Rwanda's wet and wild tradition, gay all the way in Bergen, Norway, on a stage at a Ugandan sex show, and of course, sex bush.
In the sex bush videos, the sign asks people on the street questions about local dating customs, offering small cash prizes, about $4 to win it.
Third question for $10,000. What would make somebody unacceptable for a first date in Uganda? A, if they're poor, B, if they're ugly, or C, if they're a smoker.
In Uganda, apparently smoking is the least attractive quality in a first date, according to a local survey. But some shopkeepers in the video object, saying poverty is a much bigger problem than smoking when it comes to dating. In this video from Myanmar, Stein tries to meet women on the street.
We can drink beer or coffee. Can we meet some drink together?
No.
No? But even later? Like tonight or tomorrow, weekend?
Sorry.
Sorry, you're not free?
Yes.
Free, I'd like to meet you.
Thank you. He is turned away by young women, explaining they don't go out at night because their culture demands obedience to their parents, who wouldn't approve. Stein says he's material uses humor and a universally held interest in romance to draw people's attention to related issues they otherwise may not think about.
if I were to publish a story about Ugandan politics, that would only...
A name creators recently abandoned because of complaints that it could make people think of pornography rather than cultural exploration. Brown says talking about sex or romance publicly in many of the countries he works with is often considered taboo. In his opinion, it shouldn't be.
I think it's a very important thing to talk about in countries where people are not able to talk about sex and their sex life. There's a whole bunch of problems that manifest itself, from STDs to teenage pregnancies.
And while these are serious consequences, he and his team hope to chip away at these taboos.
25 minutes past the hour. For Daybreak Africa Sports, and here is Mark Ouma. And Johannesburg, South Africa. Very good Tuesday morning to you, Mark.
Good morning, James. In our Daybreak Africa Sports News, we begin with golf. Defending champions South Africa claims their 17th successive victory at the All-Africa Junior Golf Championships in Lusaka, Zambia on Sunday. Zimbabwe was second and Zambia third. They were followed by Kenya, Swaziland, Uganda, Tunisia, Namibia, Botswana, while Mauritius were placed 10th. Turning to athletics, Kenyan Stephen Sambu clocked a lifetime best of 27 minutes and 30 seconds to win the Great Manchester 10-kilometer run in Britain on Sunday. South African Stephen Mokoka was runner-up in a career best time of 27 minutes and 38 seconds. Mokoka also bettered the South Africa 10-kilometer record from 27 minutes and 50 seconds held by Shadrach Clark since 2002. Kenyan Bernard Lagat was third in 27 minutes and 48 seconds. The trio are the world's fastest runners in 10 kilometers this year. Meanwhile, Kenyan Betsy Saina won the women's race in 31 minutes and 49 seconds. Britain's Gina Steele was 6 seconds behind, while Kenyan Edna Kiplagat was third in 31 minutes and 57 seconds. In football, despite host Ghana beating Botswana 4-1 in the return leg of the Africa Under-23 Championship qualifier in Nairobi on Saturday, Botswana progressed to the second round on the away goals rule after they drew 4-all on aggregate. In Djibouti, Rwanda held their host Somalia to a 1-all draw to progress on a 3-1 aggregate. Meanwhile, host Zambia beat Malawi 2-0 in a friendly played in Lusaka on Saturday. Today, Tuesday, Kazakhstan host Burkina Faso in Almaty. In rugby, South Africa edged host Scotland 12-10 in the plate final at the IRB 7 Series in Glasgow, Scotland on Sunday, while Argentina beat Kenya 24-7 in the Ball semi-final. At the end of the penultimate leg of this year's IRB 7 Series, South Africa dropped to second place in the overall standings with 142 points. Kenya is 13th with 38 points, while Zimbabwe is 20th with 1 point. Finally, in cycling, 23-year-old James Reed led Matthew Bucas, Ruki Crosier, Brandon Davis, and Philip Byers in a 1-2-3-4-5 South African sweep at the Africa Mountain Bike Continental Championships in Musanze, Rwanda on Sunday. Mauritius is second and Rwanda third. The contest is a qualifier for the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympics. And that's it for the Big Africa Sports News. I'm Mark in Johannesburg, South Africa. Back to you, James, in Washington.
Thank you, Mark. Have a good day. I'll let you know for this Tuesday morning, May 12.
This is William Kokwe from Liberia. It is a good news that Liberia has been declared Ebola-free by the World Health Organization, WHO. I wish to commend our President, our Excellency Ellen Johnson, for our leadership played, our health workers, our international partners, and the resilience of the Liberian people. I hope and pray that our neighboring countries, including Australia, will join us shortly. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, listener, for your comments, and please send your views to Daybreak Africa at voanews.com. This night, before we leave you, a summary of Africa news. The United Nations says 300,000 people in South Sudan have lost access to life-saving aid after fighting forced rescue to withdraw from the town of Leers. That is it for this Thursday, May 12th edition of Daybreak Africa. On behalf of the Daybreak Africa crew, I'm James Bucky in Washington, wishing all of you in Africa a very good day. Next time on
on Straight Talk Africa. Political satire from the African diaspora, poking fun at political and religious figures and symbols can make you laugh, but it can also stir up a great deal of controversy. Straight Talk Africa comes to you on Wednesday at 18:30 UTC. Join the discussion. That's next time on VOA Africa.
This is the Voice of America, Washington, D.C., signing off. This is the Voice of America.